Hello, everybody. I'm Leah Jacobson, the CEO and the founder of the National Guiding Star Project. If you're not familiar with Guiding Star Project, we are a network of women's healthcare centers here in the United States. We currently have 7 affiliate locations across 5 states, and we are growing. And today, obviously, is an incredibly monumental and historic day for anybody working in the field of women's healthcare. For me personally, I've been a women's health specialist. I have my master's degree in women's health and wellness, and I am a board certified lactation consultant. And I have worked in private practice, and I've worked in a rural hospital setting, and also in a government WIC office in north central Minnesota. And so I have spent a lot of time working with women as they transition into motherhood, and women who have been on all spectrums of whether or not they want to be having a baby, whether or not they're in a crisis situation or a long-awaited pregnancy. I've talked to literally thousands of women over the last 10 to 20 years. And I know that today, for a lot of women in our country, this might be a scary thing. And I want to just start this by acknowledging that, and to help women really understand and see that at this moment in time where you might be overwhelmed or you might be tempted to just take a very fearful approach, that the reality is that you have not been given great health care. What has happened in the era of Roe for the last 50 years under Roe versus Wade, the research, the funding, the priority for women's health care has not been great. And so we have had very subpar care. Many women in our country have never been taught to understand their beautiful, changing cyclical cycles every month, the hormones, what it means to live in a female body. We have not been given the freedom in our culture and in our country to really fully embrace what it means to be a woman. And my hope, at this moment, this very monumental moment of Roe being overturned, and the question really of what is healthy for women's bodies really being brought to the forefront, I hope and pray that this is a moment where we can find some unity as sisters on both sides of the abortion issue, as mothers, as women, that we can see that, our bodies have never been the problem. Our female fertile bodies have never been the problem. Yet, the laws and the solutions that we have been given have required us for a very long time in our country to alter, suppress, and destroy our fertility, our childbearing, our breastfeeding abilities. Instead of getting the policies and the laws in place to protect us as mothers and as women and as fertile human beings in our culture, it has been on us to change ourselves. And I hope and pray that at this moment in time, we can find some unity with one another as women to say, no more. Women's bodies are off limits, for changing here. We deserve true bodily autonomy, which is having an understanding and having the education from a very young age to understand, what's going to happen with our bodies as we go through puberty, what it actually looks like to have a healthy body. I mean, I've met so many women over the years who have struggled with true reproductive diseases, such as polycystic ovarian syndrome and endometriosis and recurrent miscarriage and infertility and all these problems that have never really been addressed. They've just kind of been brushed under the rug, and it's never been the priority. And in an era where Roe is no longer the standard, where abortion is no longer seen as an easy solution, I hope and pray that more and more of us are going to be able to step up and become true geniuses of our bodies, of our hormones. So I wanted to just address women right now all across the spectrum to say that we don't have to be enemies for each other right now, regardless of the laws of abortion in your state where you are at. There is something that we can agree upon, and that is women's bodies are not the problem. Let's educate the next generation of young women to understand, embrace, and love their natural female bodies. At Guiding Star Centers, we really believe that every human being deserves excellent health care. Everybody coming into our centers, regardless of their political stance or religious background or race or age, they deserve to be seen and to be cared for fully. We want to make people happy and to make people whole. And it has been a rough last 50 years, maybe even 100 years, honestly, when it comes to healthcare and wholeness and identity in our nation. And so I truly believe that what Guiding Star is proposing and what we were doing in our centers, that this can be a source of healing for our nation and for people individually to come to love the natural body that they have been given, to come to see it as a gift, to come to understand that that altering and changing and suppressing our natural body ultimately does not help us to feel whole. It does not help us to know who we were created to be fully. And we each deserve to do that. So at this monumental moment in time, I want to thank everybody who has been supporting Guiding Star centers around the country. If you, everyone who's been receiving care in our centers, if you're a supporter, a donor, an employee, a staff member, a volunteer in one of our 7 locations, like, just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You are changing communities. You are changing lives. You are helping women to know their goodness, to know how good they truly were created to be. So thank you for those of you. And for everybody, moving forward, I recognize that what we've been doing at Guiding Star, I've been feeling the weight of it today a little bit, in a good way. It's been a humbling thing for me to recognize that what we are proposing at Guiding Star needs to move to the front lines, really, in the women's healthcare debate. That what we are saying about women's natural bodies and our right to live in our natural bodies, and the right for our natural bodies to be respected, and for laws, policies, for things to line up with our needs as women, that what we are proposing needs to become the future of the women's movement. It's time. Now is the moment. For such a time as this, have we been preparing? It just is, it's not lost on me. In the last 2 years, we've put out 2 books. The first one was mine, Wholistic Feminism, Healing the Identity Crisis Caused by the Women's Movement. This book came out a year ago this month. This book came out and really laid out how we got here, the problems with the women's movement, where we've been through first and second and third wave feminism, and the call for this 4th wave of the feminist movement to truly be focused on women's wholeness and wellness. That's the moment we're at historically. We have such an opportunity right now to make sure that this 4th wave of the feminist movement, the women's movement, that it actually sees women's true needs and actually serves our bodies and our families and our natural desires. The book really outlines that the solutions that were given to us in the 2nd wave of the feminist movement have not brought us happiness. Women statistically are more anxious, more depressed, more unhappy with their life than they were 50 years ago. And we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that fact that women are not well. We are not whole. And so what I'm proposing, with the holistic feminist movement, the new wave of the women's movement, is a totally different approach to how we view women's bodies and how we expect women to fit into society and culture. I'm not saying that women need to go back into the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. I am definitely not saying that. I'm a mother with 7 children who travels pretty extensively and is on the road quite a lot. And I don't think I could handle being barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, because that's not what I was made for. That's not my gifting. And that's the beauty of what we're proposing with holistic feminism, is that every woman, every human being really, but women in particular, that you're created so uniquely that what you are called to do, you must do it. Your unique feminine genius contribution to the world is critical if we want to have peace. It's been the absence of our feminine genius, of our motherhood, of our presence, of our ability to see the vulnerable and care for the other, that has brought our world to this place of discontent and disagreement and volatility and division. And when women can come to feel at peace with ourselves and see the others around us, because our bodies say it, everything about us speaks to the fact that we were made for relationship. Our bodies don't even make sense unless they're in relationship. Like breasts, they don't make any sense unless there's a baby. Every part of us physically fulfills itself and becomes to purpose and fruition when in relationship with others. And so that's the proposition of holistic feminism. And then the second book that just came out this month, that we've put out through Guiding Star Project, through our little Lumen Press. You can see our little thing right there. This one right here, The Happy Girl's Guide to Being Whole, author Teresa Kenny, women's health nurse practitioner. And this book is aimed for women ages 16 to 24. And it really builds upon this idea that if you want to be happy, if you want to be a happy girl and you want to feel whole, The Happy Girl's Guide to Being Whole, what you never knew about your natural body. It's that knowing yourself. When you know yourself, when you truly can look at your body and understand it and love it and embrace it, there's a peace that comes over you where you're no longer at war with yourself. You're no longer fighting to try to change and be something else, because you just settle into, I am good. I am good. And this book does a tremendous job of that. I just love it so much. I helped, you can see, Teresa Kenny is the author because she is a women's health nurse practitioner who has been in practice for more than 20 years helping women understand and fix their hormonal issues, their reproductive issues. But you can see right down here, edited by Leah Jacobson. So I want to point that out. So I'm an editor on here and a contributor as a lactation consultant. This book is full color. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just so good. I'm going to see if I can find, there's one page in here, like these charts, like it's just incredible. I mean, it's explaining everything about a woman's cycle, about, you know, what's happening. It goes into emotionally, spiritually, physically, what it means to live in a natural female body in our culture. So it's a great book. So both of these books, I feel like we are just so perfectly prepared right now here at Guiding Star Project, what we've been working on for the last 10 years. We've got 7 centers up and running, serving women in 5 different states. We're getting our publications out. Our worldview is getting to be just more commonly understood. I think when I first started talking about this stuff, maybe 12, 15 years ago, I think I was kind of alone. I remember giving the first ever keynote at the Pro-Life Women's Conference. And I was proposing a feminist narrative saying that true feminism never changes a woman's body. It never alters, suppresses, or destroys a natural woman's body. Any changes are to optimize the natural health and function of a woman's body, not to destroy them. And I remember just having this kind of friction and tension, and even from women within the pro-life movement. And I found that women oftentimes in the natural women's healthcare movement understand this better. And so there's a tension. We exist in a tension right now that is neither pro-life nor pro-choice. And that's why, regardless of whatever state you're in, if you're in a state where abortion is going to be illegal because of a trigger law, or if you're in a state where abortion is going to be a safe haven, protected right, what we're doing at Guiding Star still needs to happen, because it is that middle ground of, regardless of a woman's decision to abort or end a pregnancy, every woman should understand and love her body. And I truly believe that when a woman, when she loves and respects her body, she can see that what her body creates is not the problem. She can see that a new life growing within her is miraculous. I think that it is a sacred thing that we are capable of doing as women, that the process of bringing our babies into the world further help us to understand our own strength and our own power. I've seen just some amazing transformations of women in birth. It's a sacred experience. It's spiritual. It's deeply spiritual. And we truly come to know ourselves in those moments. And so I truly believe that when women are taught to love and know their bodies, that the end result will be a world and a culture that sees abortion as kind of an unthinkable destruction and violation of a woman's body. So those are my thoughts. That's what's going on here at Guiding Star. And it's a crazy busy day. So just know that I'm here and I am listening, and I am, talking with women on both sides of this issue. And I think that we don't need to be filled with hate on a day like today. I think that there's common ground that we share with one another. And I think for me, I'm going to focus on that common ground, and I'm not going to see women on the other side of this issue as the enemy, because we all want what's best for women, and that's to be happy and to be whole. All right. Have a beautiful day, everybody. And I hope to connect with you soon. Thanks.